Pain does not always announce itself with warning. Sometimes it begins quietly, deep inside the body, long before we understand what is happening. A small crystal forms. It has no intention, no awareness, no malice. Yet when it begins to move, it can become one of the most intense physical sensations a human can experience. Kidney stones are not rare, they are not mysterious, and they are not the result of a single bad decision. They are the outcome of chemistry, fluid balance, and time. Understanding how they form changes how we think about pain, prevention, and the quiet processes happening inside us every day. This is pure science explained, and this is the biology behind kidney stones. The kidneys are often described as filters, but that description is incomplete. They are regulators, maintaining balance rather than simply removing waste. Every minute, large volumes of blood move through microscopic structures inside the kidneys known as nephrons. Within these tightly controlled spaces, constant decisions are made about what stays in the body and what must leave. Water and dissolved particles are separated, concentrated, reabsorbed, or released with remarkable precision. This process is continuous and active, shaped by chemistry responding to the body's needs in real time. Calcium, sodium, potassium, phosphate, oxalate, and uric acid are not waste by default. They are normal components of blood chemistry. Problems arise only when their concentration exceeds what the surrounding fluid can safely hold. Urine is therefore not simply liquid waste. It is a solution maintained at the edge of stability. Kidney stones begin when urine crosses a chemical threshold and becomes supersaturated. In this state, dissolved minerals are present in amounts that exceed what the surrounding fluid can stably contain. This shift produces no immediate sensation. There is no signal, no discomfort, no warning. Particles begin to associate quietly. Ions draw together. Molecules align according to physical forces. At a microscopic scale, the earliest crystals start to form. This process is governed by physics and chemistry, not by symptoms. A person can feel completely normal while crystal formation is already underway. Dehydration is one of the strongest contributors. Less water means higher concentration. Higher concentration leaves less margin for stability. Urine acidity also plays a critical role. Small shifts in pH can favor certain crystal types over others, quietly shaping which stones may develop. Not all kidney stones are the same. Their composition reflects the metabolic environment in which they form. The most common type in the United States is calcium oxalate. These stones develop when calcium binds with oxalate in urine that has become highly concentrated. Calcium phosphate stones tend to form under different conditions. They are more likely to appear in urine with a higher pH and are often associated with changes in renal tubular handling of minerals. Uric acid stones form in persistently acidic urine. They are linked to higher purine metabolism and reduced urine volume, conditions that favor crystallization rather than dissolution. Struvite stones arise in the presence of chronic urinary tract infections and can grow rapidly when bacteria alter urine chemistry. Cystine stones are rare and result from inherited transport disorders that allow excess cystine to accumulate. Each stone type reflects a distinct biological pathway, not a single universal cause. A kidney stone does not cause pain while it remains still inside the kidney. Pain begins only when the stone starts to move. As a stone enters the ureter, the narrow muscular tube connecting the kidney to the bladder, it meets resistance. The ureter responds with rhythmic contractions, attempting to push the obstruction forward through a confined space. Sharp or irregular edges scrape against the delicate lining. Stretch receptors embedded in the ureter wall activate. Nerve signals intensify and are transmitted rapidly to the brain. This pain often arrives in waves rather than as a constant sensation. It commonly radiates from the flank toward the lower abdomen and into the groin, following the path of nerve pathways. Nausea and vomiting are frequent companions because the nervous system links visceral pain with gastrointestinal reflexes. In this context, pain is not tissue damage. It is information, signaling resistance, pressure, and movement within a system designed for flow. Most kidney stones are small enough to pass through the urinary tract without intervention, but size and position matter. When a stone obstructs the flow of urine, pressure begins to build inside the kidney. This rising pressure interferes with normal filtration and alters the delicate balance the kidney works to maintain. Over time, sustained obstruction can lead to hydronephrosis, a swelling of kidney structures caused by trapped fluid. This is not immediate tissue damage, but prolonged pressure can gradually impair function. An obstructed system also creates conditions favorable for infection. Bacteria that would normally be flushed away become trapped and multiply rapidly. For this reason, infections associated with urinary obstruction are medical emergencies, not because stones are inherently dangerous, but because the system's natural defenses are compromised. The body can tolerate imbalance for only so long before consequences follow. Kidney stones do not follow a single profile. There is no one type of person who develops them, but clear patterns do exist. A history of previous stones significantly increases the likelihood of recurrence. Certain metabolic conditions subtly alter urine chemistry, shifting the balance toward crystallization rather than stability. High sodium intake increases calcium excretion into urine. Low fluid intake concentrates every dissolved substance, reducing the margin for chemical balance. Genetics also plays a role. Variations in transporter proteins and natural crystal inhibitors can influence how easily stones form. Environmental factors matter as well. Hot climates increase fluid loss. Certain occupations limit access to hydration. None of these factors act in isolation. They interact over time. This is why two people with similar diets can experience very different outcomes. Prevention is often misunderstood as control, but kidney stone prevention is not about eliminating minerals from the body. It is about maintaining balance. Adequate hydration increases urine volume, allowing dissolved particles to remain safely suspended rather than forced together. Moderating sodium intake reduces calcium excretion into urine, subtly shifting chemistry towards stability. Balanced dietary patterns matter more than strict restriction. The body requires minerals to function, and removing them indiscriminately can disrupt other systems. There is no universal solution. What protects one person may not protect another. Medicine works best when it respects individual physiology, adapting to variation rather than imposing rigid rules on complex biological systems. The largest kidney stones ever recorded were not formed overnight. They developed slowly, over years of silent chemical imbalance, growing without sensation or warning. In rare and extreme cases, tens of thousands of stones have been removed from a single patient. These numbers are not meant to shock, but to illustrate scale and time. Biological processes do not pause simply because they are unnoticed. They continue quietly, responding to chemistry, environment, and physiology day after day. The body adapts remarkably well. It compensates, adjusts, and maintains function within narrow limits. But adaptation has boundaries. When those limits are crossed for too long, what was once silent eventually becomes impossible to ignore. Kidney stones are not a punishment, they are a record. A record of fluid balance, chemistry, genetics, and time. When we understand this, the focus shifts from blame to awareness, from fear to observation, from reaction to understanding. If this explanation helped you see kidney stones differently, consider supporting the work by liking the video. Subscribe to Pure Science Explained for calm, evidence-based explorations of how the human body actually works. And if you feel comfortable, share your experience or your family's experience in the comments. Many personal stories reflect biological patterns science is still learning to describe. Science becomes clearer when we connect it to real lives.